What's up, you guys? It is Tips Week on Thingamavlogs, and we already have a lot of great, very informative videos on how to do things the best at Disneyland or other Disney parks, how to plan your international travel, how to get free stuff at Disneyland, Disneyland hacks. If you haven't watched all these videos before, they are linked in the description box below, but today I have a different sort of tips video for you that I think a lot of you will enjoy. As many of you know, I used to be a Disney Parks cast member, and a lot of my favorite things about being a cast member didn't necessarily have to stop after I stopped working at Disneyland. There are a ton of ways that everyday guests visiting the parks can make magic in the same way that cast members can make magic. So today I'm giving you my tips for making magic in the parks as a guest at the parks. The first couple of tips on my list are things that you definitely are taught to do as a cast member, but you are definitely allowed to do as a guest. One of the top things that they teach every single role at the Disneyland Resort is to pick up trash. I know this is a boring one. They make it clear during your training that even if you're not in custodial, it is your job to pick up trash at Disneyland. So as a guest, that's definitely something you can do to make the park a more beautiful place every single day. If you see a bottle on the ground, if you see a wrapper on the ground, just pick it up and stick it in the nearest trash can, which is probably honestly just 5 feet away. The other thing that I do very often is take pictures for people. What does that mean? I'm sure you guys have seen this happen before. Sometimes you're like in front of the castle taking your own pictures or taking your pictures wherever, and you see maybe a family of 4 with one parent taking a photo of the other parent and the kids. What I like to do is go up to those people and ask if they would like me to take their picture all together. While families can obviously ask PhotoPass or other cast members to do it, sometimes they're in a rush and don't want to wait in a line, or sometimes they're uncomfortable doing that for whatever reason. And so if you go up and offer to take a family photo for somebody, that could change their entire experience at the parks, giving them a memory to look back on literally forever. Hashtag making memes. And probably my favorite part of being a cast member was being able to share my Disney knowledge with people who are at Disneyland for the first time. I feel like all of us, or those of us who are regulars at the parks, are pretty good at identifying the people who are not regulars at the parks. People who look extremely like tourists and maybe look a little bit lost. What I like to do is if I'm in line with one of those people, or I'm seated next to them at a show and like just sitting there for a long time and end up talking to them, is to give them a little bit of my Disney knowledge, give them some of the tips that we've talked about in our other videos. Things that may seem like common knowledge to us are extremely important bits of information to people who are at Disneyland for the first time ever. I can't tell you how many people I would talk to in stores who didn't know that Fastpasses were free. As a pin trader, I sometimes go into the parks to trade with other pin traders, and I bring all my binders and all my books and things like that to trade with people. But sometimes you'll have kids come up to you, even if you're just wearing a lanyard, and ask to see your pins because they're used to doing that with cast members. The difference, of course, between trading with a cast member and a fellow guest is that cast members have to trade with you no matter what, whereas guests can say no to trading with anybody because it's their personal collection. So what I like to do if I'm bringing any pins to the park is have a separate little case of pins that I don't mind trading for anything, and I have that so if a kid asks me to trade pins with me, I can be like, here, look at this book, you can trade for anything you want in this book. It's really helpful because it gives kids another opportunity to trade pins, but also it gives me an out for saying that I don't want to trade any of my super valuable pins with them. I'm also a Disney bounder, and I know a lot of you are as well. One thing that can definitely make someone's day is telling them that you like or recognize their Disney bound. Very often at Dapper Day and other events where people are Disney bounding a lot, I will try to guess someone's Disney bound or just be like, you're doing Belle, right? And people most of the time are like, oh my God, thank you so much. I was afraid no one would know who I am. So there's a lot of magic to be made just by being like, hey, I like your outfit. And it's really easy. I know some of you may have social anxiety like I do, but if you're feeling like good and you're pumped and you're at Disney and you can get the words out of your mouth to tell someone that you like their Disney bound, it could really make their day and validate all the work that went into putting together that outfit. Another tip that I have for you is to give away your unused Fastpasses. This has become a little bit more difficult now that they enforce the time frame for Fastpasses, whereas they didn't used to do that before. But there is actually a nifty app that I've been told about many times called Pass It Forward, which is an app that you can download to let people know what Fastpasses you have to give them away, or to look for Fastpasses that you want if a ride has run out of Fastpasses for the day. And the last tip that I have for you in terms of making magic as a guest at Disneyland is something that I talk about pretty often because as a cast member, I can't tell you how amazing it was to be recognized for my hard work as a cast member. So my tip for you is to appreciate cast members, especially those working on holidays, but every day, honestly. This could be something as small as just being like, Thank you so much for all the work that you do. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for making my trip more magical. Whatever you want to say to a cast member, you can say something to them in person, but even more so, if you have an exceptionally great experience with a cast member, write down their name, write down their location and what time you met them, and go to City Hall at the end of your day and give them a guest compliment. Guest compliments not only feel good to get as a cast member, but a lot of the times they get rewarded within their department for getting guest compliments. So it's really, really something that's easy to do and can make a huge difference for cast members. So there you go. You don't have to be a cast member to make magic while visiting a Disney park. You can do it as a guest. And I hope those tips were helpful. I hope some of you try to do them on your next trip to the parks. I burped at the end of that sentence, I'm sorry. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed Tips Week and learn a ton of new stuff. I know I definitely will. And we'll see you next week for more Disney stuff. Bye!